Charles Oliveira came out and he said that he would fight Volkanovski, but it's going to be for Volkanovski's belt. Now, I wish he would have given credit to wherever he got that wonderful idea from, but all the same, he had more of a long-term plan. And he just said, I'm going to fight Volkanovski, but here's what we're going to do. Okay, I took a look at the calendar. UFC is going to Brazil. That's where I want to fight Volk. But 2 weeks later, they're going to Australia. I'll go there. It might have been flip-flop. They might go down under first, go south next. It was only 2 weeks separated, but he thought that they could fight for both belts. One at 145, one at 155. In the span of 14 days, get this whole thing summed up. Okay, great. Now, there's nothing about that that's worth discussing other than I do have to give credit to Charles. I can't remember the last time I've ever heard a champion lay out a plan. I truly can't remember the last time that I saw a champion even step forward with a suggestion, let alone two. Now, they quickly go to Volkanovski. Volkanovski says, and I quote, well, obviously that makes no sense, but yeah, I'm down if he can pull it off. Now, that's the greatest line Volkanovski's ever had. There is no way to respond to such an absurd idea. Any part of it. There's no part of Charles' plan that worked. Not to go into 45 and taking on Volkanovski, not doing it, not that they're going to fight on this continent and then they're going to fight on this continent, not that they're going to go back and forth in weight classes, not that UFC is going to sanction it, not that anybody's going to allow that to happen or count on the fact that it's happening or have any level of belief that both guys are going to show up on both nights when they're only separated for 14 days. Like, there was no part of that made sense, and that's what Volkanovski said. Listen to it again, guys. Listen to it again, okay? Charles lays out the plan. Now, Charles had never thought about this. This came to Charles in the moment. So he talks about Volkanovski and getting down to 45. And then as he partway through that, he kind of realizes, well, that's not really the direction we're going. So then he offers to put his belt up. Now, he really wants to do it in Brazil, but he sees where that would be an advantage. So he's then going to return the favor. I mean, this thing was just going left, right, and center. And I got to give the media guy that took the time to hear that statement and then go to Volkanovski and was connected enough that they could get a hold of Volk. I mean, whoever put this out deserves a lot of credit. They did the right thing. You got to go to Volk for a response. Volk simply told the truth. Said, obviously, that makes no sense. I don't think he can pull it off. But if he can, I'm in. Beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful response by Volk. And I also get Volk's perspective. Like, I get where Charles's words were getting away from him, right? He's stressed out. He's cutting weight. Somebody asked him a question. He's got to deal with Islam, but he's got this elephant in the room named Volkanovski. He's got to deal with the Volkanovski thing and not with his punches. He's got to do it with his words. And the only thing he has to establish, he doesn't have to convince you guys he can beat Volkanovski. He just has to convince you guys, I am not falling for this bluff. As a matter of fact, I accept and I'll double that. Not only will I fight the sumbitch, I'll fight him twice. Charles did everything that he needed to do. And Volk continued, because see, that's the problem with Volk, right? That's the problem if you want to detract from Volk. He always tells the truth. Truth's not great for headlines. When I couldn't get a response, I used to go after guys. I'd go after. It's how I got myself up, was by grabbing somebody stronger, right? Couldn't get him to respond. Sometimes they'd play along, but sometimes they wouldn't respond. I could always get a response if I lied about him. If I ever told a lie, no matter how small it was, yeah, I actually ran into him in the bar, and here's what he said to me. No matter how small it was, there was something about that psychologically where they go, that didn't happen. I had a story one time about I was splitting a cab in Toronto with Ed Soros. I used that as a jumping off point to then go and tell a story. Even Ed would say, hey man, I've never been in a cab with you. I haven't been to Toronto in 2 years, right? There's something about it if you lie. Volk never does. So it's not always great for headlines, but listen to what he said. I mean, how true could this get? He said, obviously, he's used the word obviously. Obviously is condescending, right? Obvious is not where you throw a sandwich at somebody. It's where you take the sandwich and you smash it into their face. So first off, he says, obviously, which was true. Like, that plan is really terrible. There is nobody that's going to sign on for that. Nobody. So he starts with the word obviously. He then says it makes no sense, which is true. He then says, but if. If he can pull it off, I'm in. So now he's done the same thing back to Charles that Charles did to him, right? Charles is just using bravado. Charles did everything right, what he needs to do. But at the same time, Volk maintained as well. Sure, Australia, Brazil, 45-55, 2 weeks, 1 week. You get that figured out, tell me, and I'll show up the same as I've done here, right? Like everybody won, everybody did their part. But the biggest winner here might have been me. I mean, it really might have been. I think I appreciated and enjoyed my interpretation. See, when Volkanovski speaks, sometimes it's poetry. It really is. This Volk guy, man, he's winning me over in a very, very big way. It's not just talk with him. If it was just talk, him 8 weeks removed from a hand surgery would not be in Fight Island 24 hours away from getting on a scale while licensed. The gig is up. And you see that sometimes. Sometimes you don't want to admit it. I mean, look, we're seeing that with Jake Paul. I mean, I'll jump around on topics here, but we're seeing with that Jake Paul. You think this is all an act until he signs to fight Anderson Silva. The gig is now up. You don't play with Anderson Silva. It's just one of these points where when Volkanovski said this, I was jumping out of my chair. Now, by the time I had seen this, it was already the fourth topic down. This was not headline news. You guys apparently did not enjoy it. This didn't make waves. You should. You should enjoy it. Because everybody's paying attention. Everybody knows what time it is. You got no sandhagging here. Everybody's looking left and right. Everybody's seeing what's going on. Everybody's doing their part, including the media. And whichever media member heard Charles say this and then was able to reach Volk, you did a great job.